feel like as hairdressers, the goal is always to open your own salon. But then it's like, when you do that, what's next? Hi, I'm Jess. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. It still feels so weird to say that. Today, the hat that I'm wearing again is business owner. That was what I posted about last week. It's been a tough couple of weeks. Like, a lot of shit has happened and I'm still trying to process it in my brain. And there's the emotional part of the shit that's happened that triggers my own anxieties. I'm a very anxious person. My own fear of abandonment, my own avoidant attachment, all that stuff. And then there's also the business side of it where it's okay, how am I gonna deal with this stuff? I, in the last 2 weeks, have had 2 people put in their notice. One I was super excited about. It was our first salon manager. And I hung a lot of my hopes and dreams on this person because there are things, that we just don't want to do. And so if we're lucky enough to be in a position to farm out the things that we don't want to do, that's awesome. And that's where we had gotten. She realized working for us, she didn't want to manage people. And I fucking get it, because that's why we hired you. I don't want to manage people. It's hard. So that happened. Bummer. At a loss for words for 12 hours. Just shocked. My number one skill is being able to know when people are going to quit. I think it's how I grew up. I had to always be on my toes because I had a parent that had a substance abuse problem, and then eventually the second parent did. And so I was always looking at clues to see where the night was gonna go. It's a nasty habit and I hate it, but it also makes it so I always know when somebody's gonna quit. I was racking my brain. I didn't know how I felt emotionally. And so I went home and I was trying to think about all these solutions and process what had happened. Finally, I was like, you need to watch a bad show. I started Lost, by the way. I'd seen a little bit of it before and it's incredible. I watched Lost, I went to bed, and I shit you not, I woke up the next day and I had every answer in the world. My head was clear. I had gone through a lot to get to that point, and I want to learn how to be able to okay, this is intense right now. I can't deal with this right now. Either I don't have the time, I don't have the emotional bandwidth, I'm not in a good space. So how am I gonna put this in a box and come back to it? I'm not good at that. What I do is I start to problem solve and I start to problem shoot, and I come up with plan A, plan B, plan C, and all down the whole alphabet. But I wasn't in a place to be able to do that. Watching Lost, going to bed, I woke up the next day and I was like, this is what we're gonna do. This is what happened. I had full plan. I felt good about it. I felt good about her leaving. It made me realize we jumped the gun. We weren't in a position to hire yet. We hadn't ironed out all our own details as owners and what exactly we wanted them to do. We hadn't transitioned the staff appropriately, so many things. And this is such a good thing that this happened. But it was tough. Then a few days later, we had a tough conversation with another staff member, and I remember telling one of my co-owners, we were in the parking garage walking to our car, and she mentioned that staff member, and I was like, she's gonna quit. And my co-owner was like, there's no way. 2 days later, she did. So it was a tough fucking week. It got me thinking about where do I want my career to go? Do I have the stomach for this? I want to level up and I want to gain new skills and I want to be able to have that promotion. And so when you've opened a small business, that's always the goal for people. And the goal stops there. What's next? What's above that? That's where I am. That's what I'm thinking about. Also, just how do I process the loss of these people? One has worked with us for a long time and the other not so much, but everybody brings something to the table energetically. It sucks when people leave. It sucks because you're secretly jealous because you're well, they're doing something different. They have something new and exciting and I'm still here. But they get to move on and spread their wings. So I'm fucking jealous. I'm also sad. I'm also scared because it affects everybody else, whether they see it or not. I worry about what's happening with them emotionally. They just lost a friend and a coworker. That person's moving on and that relationship is gonna have to pivot or it will disappear. I worry about what happens culturally. How do they feel? Are they scared? Do they think that this is a reflection on the business in a way that will affect them? It is a reflection on the business. I worry about, did I do something Like, did I overstep? Could I have done things differently? It's hard to be a business owner. It's hard to work for a small business. Life is fucking hard. I'm starting to learn to always try to ask when people leave, like, would you mind giving me feedback on your experience here? Don't hold back. If you are a person in the world who has worked for somebody else, I challenge you to be honest. It's really important. And now that I'm talking this out on camera, like, maybe that's my path for growth, is starting to ask this stuff and just being like a better business owner, a better advocate for the business, but also for staff. My little quarter midlife crisis is really kicking in. And I think that's kind of where I am right now, is just trying to suss out like what I want like the second act of my life to look like. Do I want to continue on the path? Do I want to grow in different ways? Is it time to just shut down? Am I ready to just like look at it as I made a lot of money, sustained my lifestyle for however many years, and I'm ready to move on to something else? And I think I'm talking about this more in depth on YouTube. So if you're interested in this, if you're a hairdresser, thinking about going into business, if you're a small business owner in any capacity, or if you own a salon, like maybe check out the channel and see. But I also want to create a community and open lines of communication, because I want to know where you guys are. And if you're feeling this or have felt this or moved through it, and just share your experiences, because this shit is hard. They don't teach you this in hair school or in college or whatever. These are like the real life skills that are like very challenging. Anyways, that's it for today. Drop some comments if you have any feedback, if you have been through this, if you are thinking about opening a business, if you have opened a business, if you've just worked for other people. And I hope to hear from you. I hope you check in for another chat. All right, have a great one. Bye. Every damn time. Okay, every time.